Today, we're diving deep into Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, not just to review it, but to look at what makes it such a technical marvel, a storytelling surprise, and a powerful, nostalgic return to form. Before we get into Rift Apart, let's rewind. The Ratchet & Clank series began in 2002, developed by Insomnia Games for the PlayStation 2, known for its fast-paced combat, weapon variety, and buddy comedy writing. The franchise quickly became a PlayStation staple. Through sequels like Going Commando, Up Your Arsenal, and A Crack in Time, the series expanded its storytelling and mechanical complexity. But after 2013's Into the Nexus, the series went quiet, until a 2016 reimagining based on the movie. Which, we all know how that went. Beautiful visuals, sure, but it sacrificed soul for mainstream accessibility. That's where Rift Apart comes in, a true sequel to Into the Nexus, skipping the reboot entirely. Released in 2021, it had one job: prove the PS5's power and prove the Lombax duel still mattered. More than just a showcase for the PS5's raw power, Rift Apart was a masterclass in creative game design, leveraging every ounce of the new hardware to deliver an adventure unlike anything before it. It introduced us to beloved new characters, redefined its core gameplay, and set a new standard for seamless, visually spectacular action. But how did Insomniac achieve this impossible feat? And why, even years later, does Rift Apart stand tall not just as a PlayStation 5 flagship, but as a potential blueprint for future of interactive entertainment? Let's rip open the dimensions and find out. Rift Apart was developed by Insomniac Games, who by this point had released Spider-Man and Miles Morales, both critical hits. But Rift Apart was designed from the ground up for PS5. This wasn't just a prettier Ratchet game. It was a tech demo wrapped in a Pixar-level adventure. I'm not gonna be here and glaze the PS5 hardware because, let's be honest, 5 years later, it's pretty much outdated, especially since I'm a PC gamer and console systems are relatively weak. But before you yell at me, the PS5 solid-state drive allowed for instant loading for an entire dimension, letting players wrap between biomes without any loading screens. This tech made the Rift system more than a gimmick. It became a mechanic. The DualSense haptics, adaptive triggers, and ray tracing were all showcased here and at their best. Rift Apart kicks off with Ratchet struggling with his legacy, the last Lombax, uncertain of his place. Meanwhile, Clank tries to gift him a dimension-hopping device to find their kind. But a certain returning villain, Dr. Nefarious, crashes the party and sends everything spiraling. This kicks off a dual narrative. We follow both Ratchet and Rivet, a new female Lombax from another dimension. She's cautious, brave, and a perfect counter to Ratchet's optimism. The emotional core of the story lies in Rivet and Kit, Clank's alternate dimension counterpart. The arcs about trauma, trust, and redemption feel earnest and earned, something the franchise hadn't always managed in the past. You can almost argue that Rivet is the main character in this game, not really Ratchet, because I feel like the game focuses more on Rivet and her backstory than Ratchet. Rivet and Kit live in a dimension where Dr. Nefarious actually succeeded and rules with an iron fist as Emperor Nefarious. Rivet is a seasoned battle-hardened warrior who was known nothing but conflict. Her introduction immediately injects new energy into the series, offering a parallel perspective to Ratchet's journey. Rivet and Kit aren't just palette swaps for Ratchet and Clank. They are fully fleshed out characters with their own distinct struggles and emotional arcs. Rivet grapples with loneliness, the burden of leadership, and a deep-seated distrust of others, especially robots. Kit, on the other hand, carries the weight of a past mistake, leading to crippling self-doubt and shyness. Their individual journeys of self-discovery and finding belonging are interwoven beautifully with Ratchet and Clank's own quest to reunite and save the multiverse. The narrative is heartfelt, genuinely funny, and surprisingly emotional or deep, tackling themes of belonging, self-worth, and overcoming past trauma, all while maintaining that classic Ratchet and Clank charm. If you never played a Ratchet and Clank game before, here's basically... If you never played a Ratchet game, Ratchet and Clank is a third-person platforming mixed with explosive shooter, chaos, and tons of mobility. And Rift Apart is the most refined version yet. And speaking of the gameplay mechanics, this game has dynamic combat. Enemies can warp in from other dimensions, environmental hazards can suddenly appear, and you can instantly escape danger or reposition by pulling yourself through a rift to a new vantage point. Environmental puzzles. Entire areas might exist only in one dimension, requiring you to toggle between realities to progress. Seamless transition. Imagine grappling through a bustling city, then instantly zipping into an alien swamp, then a frozen tundra, all in a matter of seconds without a single hiccup. It creates an incredible sense of momentum and unpredictability. Pocket dimensions. Even more impressively, the game features pocket dimensions, small optional challenge areas that are entirely distinct mini-worlds. You literally walk through a rift and are instantly transported to a unique environment. Solve a quick puzzle, return. Again, with no load times. This feature alone showcases a sheer technical power at work. Around the world changed a lot. You can air dash, wall run, rocket boot, grapple hooks. The rift tether mechanic lets you slingshot into a new area instantly, adding verticality and spectacle. The previous games did have other ways of navigating the map other than running and jumping. You had the slingshot, you had... I don't remember what else you had. But this game really added to the way that you can explore the world without having to just hold the left stick and hope that Ratchet eventually gets to the destination that you're going to. And it wouldn't be a Ratchet and Clank game without an insane arsenal. And Rift Apart delivers. Each weapon feels incredibly distinct, not just in its visual effect, but in your hands. The adaptive triggers allow for multi-stage firing, a light press for one action, a full press for another, like the burst pistol single shot versus full auto. The haptic feedback is a game changer, letting you feel the individual bullets of a rapid-fire weapon, the thud of an explosion, or the subtle vibrations of a weapon overheating. It adds an unparalleled layer of tactical and sensory feedback. Beyond the guns, Ratchet and Rivet's mobility is significantly enhanced. The Phantom Dash allows for quick, invulnerable dodges, perfect for escaping sticky situations. The Rift Tether provides instant, tactical repositioning, and the hover boots, while present in previous games, feel faster and more integrated than ever, allowing for quick traversal and even mid-air combat maneuvers. The seamless blend of fluid movement, explosive combat, and instant dimensional travel creates a gameplay loop that is constantly engaging and exhilarating. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is without a doubt one of the most visually stunning games ever made. It's almost like a Pixar-level animation brought to life in real time. The fidelity mode running at 4K with ray tracing is jaw-dropping. Every character model is packed with detail from the individual strands of fur on Ratchet and Rivet to the intricate mechanical workings of the robots. Now, I said earlier in the video that I wasn't gonna glaze the PS5, and I'm still not. But you do have to give the developers props for making the game look amazing. It runs like shit, in my opinion, because it's running at 30 FPS with motion blur and a bunch of other shit that makes the game look, or not play as well, in my opinion. I'm not trying to be a PC master race type person, but for me, the way the game plays at 30 FPS is just not playable, in my opinion. I am lucky enough to experience the game at 180 frames, 1440p, at like max settings on my PC, and it looks way better than on console, and it definitely runs 1,000 times better, especially when I toggle off motion blur. The 3D audio is equally impressive, pulling you deeper into the world. You can precisely pinpoint enemy locations by sound alone, hear the subtle hum of a distant machinery or the echoing calls of creatures in vast caverns. Combined with the truly excellent orchestral score and fantastic voice acting, Rift Apart is a feast for the senses, pushing the boundaries of what's possible on a console. Insomniac Games has always been at the forefront of pushing PlayStation hardware, and Rift Apart is perhaps their greatest triumph in this regard. Their core design philosophy for this game was to create a truly seamless adventure, one where the moment-to-moment action was never interrupted by loading screens or technical limitations. The PS5's SSD wasn't just a faster storage drive for Insomniac, it was a design tool that unlocked entirely new possibilities for level and encounter design. Now, arguably SSDs are in fact faster than hard drives, but I feel like this gimmick, even though I it's in my script and I'm reading it off my script, but I think that they keep bringing up, or I guess I'm technically bringing up, the SSD in their marketing material, especially when the console first got announced. I don't know, it just feels like a gimmick because, yeah, SSDs are faster, but like, you know, developers can make games seamless. For example, back in PS2, if you watch my previous video on the PS2, or not the PS2, but like Jak and Daxter on the PS2, that game was entirely seamless. There wasn't any loading screens or loading times, besides loading into the game for the the first time, or like pressing start. But going from level to level, or area to area, there weren't any loading zones. There weren't any loading screens that interrupted your gameplay. So I feel like that, I keep bringing it up, the SSD thing, because that was a big part of their marketing and a big part of why they said, buy the PS5, it's so fucking fast, and look at 4K, even though it's upscaled and runs like shit, So, yeah, I keep bringing it up, like I said, but I don't know, it just feels like a gimmick, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like it's really, like a thing that really made the developers be like, oh my god, bro, finally, zero limitations on the console. An SSD, like, nah. Anyway, every planet in Rift Apart feels distinct and offers unique gameplay challenges, from the open world traversal of Savali with its fast hoverboot segments to the shifting dimensions of Blizzard Prime's mining operations. To the combat areas of Skartsu Debris Field, the game cleverly blends open-ended exploration with tightly designed linear sections, keeping the pacing fresh and concise. They even included optional side quests and challenges that encourage re-exploration and full utilization of your arsenal. This is something that's always been a part of the Ratchet and Clank games. You had your main quest, your main mission, and then you had a little side mission, a little optional thing that you can do. I remember, in the OG PS2 games, I would always do the main mission first and then do the side quest, because a side quest mission, even though they were optional, they really did help you later on in the game, because sometimes you're required to do them. Well, now that I think about it, they technically weren't optional. You had to do them, because if you looked at the menu, the mission menu in the game, it didn't say optional or main. It was just all checkboxes. So I think in this game, they just kind of split them into main quests and side quests or whatever. But it's not anything new. This has always been a feature in all the Ratchet and Clank games. Because the game is somewhat open world, semi-open world. When you land on a planet, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can go straight to the main objective, or you can do the little side quest and do that first and then do the main objective. Now, the decision to have 2 playable Lombaxes wasn't just a story beat. It was a clever way to extend the adventure without feeling repetitive. While their core movesets are similar, their individual narratives and the unique side characters they interact with in their respective dimensions ensure that the experience feels constantly varied. This commitment to variety and innovation, both technically and creatively, is what sets Rift apart. I have a few critiques about the game. One of them being that, in my opinion, it feels too short. You can beat the game in roughly like 12-15 hours, and that's 100% completion. It doesn't take too long to beat the game. I mean, like, compare it to like the old school Ratchets, yeah, it's long, but nowadays 15 hours is kind of on the short side in my opinion. The plot of it, I mean, it's like your generic, hero game where it starts out bad and then you win in the end, which I guess works for literally any fucking game that exists. But I don't know, I feel like they played it kind of safe in my opinion, but it wasn't terrible. just like any other game, it's not perfect. It's overwhelmingly positive reviews. It's not entirely without the minor quibbles, like I said before. Some might find the initial difficulty a bit on the easier side, but it does get harder if you play on normal difficulty. The open-ended sections were, while visually impressive, sometimes lack the intricate puzzle platforming of the more linear levels. And while the arena challenges are fun, they are somewhat standard for the series, and also, I never was one to... I'm not gonna refer myself as one. I never enjoyed the arenas, not in my opinion. It is my opinion. I don't think they're that fun. I mean, they're fun, but after doing them for a little bit to get all the rewards and, you know, all the little extra goodies, it low-key does get fucking boring. The loop gets really repetitive. Like, yes, there are challenges like only use this weapon, or weapons randomly change, or I don't know, there's fucking zero gravity or whatever. The arenas, even though like they're a staple to, I think since the second one, I believe. They've been in every game, but I don't know, they're not the best in my opinion. I think this game, you can almost argue, it's a love letter to longtime fans and a perfect jumping on point for newcomers, proving that Ratchet and Clank's charm and action are truly timeless, no matter the dimension. See what I did there? Because of the game dimensions. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is more than just a game, it's an experience. It's a dazzling, heartfelt, and technically groundbreaking adventure that stands as a shining example of what a dedicated team can achieve when given powerful new tools. It didn't just meet our expectations for a new generation, it shattered them. You might even say it broke dimensions. Leaving us excited not just for the future of Ratchet and Clank, but the future of gaming itself. It's that good. It's a must play, and fuck it, play it, buy it right now. Hopefully it's not gonna be another million years before we get another Ratchet and Clank game. I'm very curious to see what they do with Rivet, Kit, because I mean, huge spoiler coming up. You have been warned. The ending of the game does allude to another game, right? It's like it doesn't like just end, you know, theme. It shows that Rivet and Ratchet are gonna actually find the other Lombaxes with the Dimensionator, and I don't know how that's gonna turn out. Hopefully it's cool. Hopefully it's fun, because I really did like Rivet. I really did like her. She wasn't just, you know, like I said before, she wasn't just a carbon copy of Ratchet, or like the girl version of Ratchet. She was actually, you know, her own character, she had her own emotions, she had her own background, her own way of doing things and saying things. And I think she is like, you know, a perfect, you know, the other side of a coin of Ratchet, you know. So let me know what you guys, you know, think about the game. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Did you think Rivet was kind of a lazy character? Did you think Kit was a lazy character? Just tell me your opinions in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it. Yeah, I do want to apologize for the very, very delayed video. You know, stuff happened. Life got in the way, shit like that. I also got lazy. I'll try my best to keep to my weekly schedule uploading, but yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And like, subscribe, share, and talk to you later. Bye.